much of 105 of them were unfilled positions already, so they just were eliminating them because nobody was in it.
I have to say, I don't trust that superintendent. I never have. In the years that she's been in there, she scares me. I'm glad I didn't ever work for her.
Exactly. I know her. She's actually really nice.
It's really good.
Yeah, but you think so?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She fights she goes to bat for the teachers a lot.
I don't know. Just in terms of the financial things, though, there's been some questionable stuff.
Okay, we are live.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Summers Board of Selectmen. Today is a special meeting, Thursday, June 6th, 2024. It's 5:30 p.m. We're in the town hall. Please join me for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So with roll call, we have Selectman Meyer, my right, Selectman Schmidt on my left, Kim LaFleur, Director of Ops, CFO Brian Wissinger on my right, Assistant Finance Officer Mike Marinaccio, Public Works Director and Land Use Director Todd Rowland, and Human Services Director Matt Cox. Public comment, we have some time set aside, but I believe we have no public here. Presentation by First Selectman. A couple things I'd like to mention. First of all, the fire chief selection process is going well, I think. The second round of interviews occurred earlier in the week. The unanimous decision by the group of 4 or 5 people again, right? 5 interviewers, 5. Was one individual who I will interview next Monday. So I think we need to anticipate that we should have a named individual before the Board of Selectmen, probably our next meeting. High school graduation is scheduled for 6 p.m. this coming Tuesday. Encourage people to go that have the time. I will be there. Shred Day is available this coming Saturday behind Town Hall between 9 and 12. Rabies clinic and dog licensing will occur also this Saturday between 10 and 12 at the Public Works Department, 95 East Road. And the town will be hosting the Economic Development Commission will be hosting a networking meeting with the Selectmen next Thursday at Worthington Winery, between 5 and 8. I'm not sure you have to stay the whole time, but just, please come. And we have a summer concert series kicking off starting on the 20th of June from 6 to 8. Is that what it is? Presentations. Consent agenda is next. We've got under boards and commissions, we have the appointment of Mr. Gerard Joel to the Youth Services Bureau Advisory Commission. This is due to the resignation of Officer Craig Jones. By the way, I have a couple other people in the audience here. We have Trooper Trooper Price and Police Administrator Kim Liddy. So we need a motion for the appointment of Mr. Gerard Joyle. Youth Services Bureau Advisory Commission.
I'll make a motion to appoint Gerard Joyle to the Youth Service Advisory Bureau Board to fill a vacancy due to the retirement of Craig Jones.
The effective date would be
What's the date?
His last day is the 11th. The 11th. June 11th. His last day.
June, last day of June?
June 11th.
June 11th for Craig
Oh,
Jones.
June 11th, okay. Yeah, that's when
Next
he's
Tuesday,
around.
yes.
That's when he's leaving, yeah, okay.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on the motion?
So it's a two-part motion. We're accepting the resignation of Craig Jones, and then we're appointing Gerard to fill him.
I think we already accepted.
We already
the
accepted.
We already accepted
Yeah.
his,
Well, we accepted his resignation as an officer. Did we accept
Oh,
his
no.
resignation from the
No.
board?
No, that's right.
Okay.
Good point. Okay, we have two motions. First motion then would be accepting the resignation of Craig Jones.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next motion is the appointment of Gerard Joyle to the Youth Services Bureau Advisory Commission. Already made by Selectman Schmidt,
And I'll second that.
seconded by Selectman Meyer. Any further discussion on the motion? Although hearing none, all those in support of the motion say aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you. Finance transfers appropriations.
There's none unless an action is taken on the contract later in the meeting. And
Yeah. So we're postponing.
we will postpone it.
CFO's financial report and update.
So the auditors were in on Monday. They were here for majority of the day, went through all their processes and walkthroughs. No issues with anything happening in town. They will be back the second week of October and the third week of October, most likely only in town here for a couple of days, and then at the Board of Ed for a couple of days, but they always block off 2 weeks. One of those days is a holiday. So they will, they'll be back then. In the meantime, they'll send us any selections that they have after year end closeouts, and they'll sample capital and stuff at that time. They haven't done that at this point. But they didn't have any issues with how things are going currently.
Good to hear.
I have spent most of this week transitioning credit card machines. You'll see new machines town-wide. I've got 2 left to go. Back in March, I believe it was, we migrated the tax office to a new merchant to test it out, see how we liked the merchant, how things functioned, how we liked the processes, and to compare actual costs versus their proposals. We were very pleased with how everything was going, so we then migrated the remaining machines, or the remaining merchant accounts to the new merchant as well. And so new equipment is going in all week long. At this point, we've got the library and the town clerk's office is what's left. We're anticipating that over the course of a year, this will save us, I'm shooting for $10,000 over the course of the year is my anticipated savings.
Sounds good.
Yep.
What's the scope of this, as far as you said, library and town clerk can get to be included? Everyone else is on board?
They've just yet to be set up. The machines are sitting in my office. Each machine takes anywhere from an hour to 2 hours to set up, to create the inventory, and to then train the staff on proper usage and so forth. So it's taking a little bit of time with everything else that's on my schedule. I've been getting 1, sometimes 2 a day. But so far, the senior center, land use, tax was done back in March, like I said, and the transfer station was set up today. They'll begin using their new equipment on Saturday. Senior center has already been using it. Land use will begin theirs on Monday. Town clerk will be set up first thing Monday morning, and the library will be set up after the town clerk when they open.
What are the additional benefits for this program?
Um,
Saving money.
It's a more user-friendly system than the ones that we have currently. It's a little bit more robust, I guess you could say, machine. The selling factor though was the savings in it. The prior merchant, we were purchasing hardware at $800-900 a machine. This merchant does not require you to purchase the hardware. We were paying for the hardware to run as a point of sale system at $15 a month per machine before. This is all integrated in that. You don't pay additional for those systems. We were having to buy paper every time we needed register tape. We get 5 free rolls of paper every quarter with the new merchants. So it's really a lot of just financial benefits is really what worked it all out, in my opinion.
That's good.
And then I know Mike wanted to talk to you guys about legislative updates.
Yeah.
So I'll let
I'll make it brief, even though this document is huge. It's 64 pages, but it's two-sided, so it's only 32.
Most of it's what they didn't pass.
So on Tuesday, I attended the cost legislative wrap-up. Well, it's online, and they went through this document, and I mean, there are just a tremendous amount of things that impact the town. To say, I've sent the education portion of this already to the superintendent and to the business manager over there. I sent you, the selectmen, the slides which was a kind of a brief summary of, but in no way gets into the details of so much that's in there. The governor is still signing these bills and may even veto some of them. So when the final update comes out, Cost will be sending that out to us. And then I think what we should do is to hold, I think, an individual meetings with each director and talk about what affects their area, so they're aware of statutes, what has changed. And if you had a staff meeting, it would be a massive meeting because there'd be so many items that would have to be covered in that meeting. But I think we should, and I will take the lead on this, carve out some time to go and visit each one of the directors and go through all the state statutes that have changed, that affect their areas. And I mean, we're talking public works, we're talking public safety, taxing, assessing, so on. But what I'd like to do is just go through, just to go on the record here in this meeting, and just touch high level from the document that I sent you in the email, some of the areas and what my impressions of that are. We have the budget stabilization bill. The governor was proposing to cut education or redirect ECS money. That was overridden by the legislature. So essentially, it maintains the hold harmless provisions to ensure that towns considered overfunded, which I believe Summers is, does not receive less funding. So the funding won't be impacted. The indoor air quality that everybody was talking about, that we had to have it done by 2025, well, that's been put off until 2031. And you get 5 years. You have to do it every 5 years. If you can't, you can get a dispensation if you can't find somebody to do it because there aren't enough of inspectors to do this. So that whole thing is kind of in flux, and you'll get reimbursed for doing those tests. So the steep grants have been increased from $500,000 to $1 million, so we can apply to up to $1 million. And the population estimate formula has been changed, and for Summers that results in 10,279. That's what the OPM will use.
What was that again? 10,000?
10,000, yeah, it's based on the Department of Public Health's 2021 population estimate calculated.
This doesn't include the prison.
I would think it does. But they're using a number, 10,279. I think it would be lower than that if you took the prison out. There is a whole bunch of election fraud issues, and I'm not going to go on in all of them, but
the couple of them that stand out are, so we have to have a video recording of the drop boxes. So I guess that would have to be on video the whole time, that during the election period. And then the town clerk must retrieve those ballots daily or at the close of the polls out of that. So, and, so this, it looks like there has to be a lot of coordination here between the registrars and the town clerk.
So you have to buy a machine to video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Municipal liens, there's any unpaid fines imposed by the municipal, under a municipal ordinance that sets a penalty for violating a local zoning regulation. If it's not paid, you can lien the property. I know we've always gone back and forth on whether or not we could do something like that. Well, now it's coded in state statute. The other change that's kind of interesting is that commercial vehicles are now required to be reported on municipalities' personal property declaration form. So they're not going to be taxed any longer as vehicles. Now, this is kind of an end around with the car tax cap for the towns that have a car tax cap. I guess there's about 57 municipalities that have that. So you're capped at, I think it's 31 or 32. But if you have a mill rate of 60, like maybe Hartford, you make them reported as part of their personal property declaration, and you would tax them at 60. So they are expecting to have a special session where people are going to try to overturn this portion, right, of that. So it's not final yet. Ambulance services. So there is an increase in ambulance rates, and then there'll also be an increase in transportation rates for Medicaid, mileage rates. Teachers, what didn't...
Increase in rates went through.
Yeah, the increase in rates went through. We will be getting a rate schedule from Department of Public Health, which we usually get sometime this summer.
We file everything, I believe it's by August 31st, and then.
But not the Medicaid rate, though. That was the controversial one, right?
That was the controversial.
That is the controversial one,
Yeah,
but
not
we're
the
going to get the increase in Medicaid mileage.
For in-town. they're
For
allowed.
in-town, so I guess I don't think we ever could do that before, but we can do that now. So those are the kind of, and then if you go through this, you'll see there's a lot of other things that did in fact pass.
And the governor tried to reduce the emergency funds by $5 million, and that was rejected by the
Yeah,
legislature.
yeah.
For ambulances.
Things that didn't pass, which these are things that clearly would end up costing the town money, or towns money. Minimum salary of $60,000 for teachers with an escalator clause every year. $1,000 bonuses for teachers employed during COVID. Did not pass. Municipal food scrap diversion program and all those pilot programs and everything. We were worried about what are we going to do with garbage. Well, that did not pass.
This year.
This time around. This time, well, you can say that for all of these. It depends how many times you want to go to the well on this stuff. There's a whole section on all the different things you had to do for proposed standards that you had to do if you're going to propose a charter change. All that got not passed, thank goodness, because it would just be more and more of extra kind of work. Remote meetings, there was a requirement that members that called in remotely couldn't vote unless they had a camera on them when they were voting. That didn't pass. Volunteer fire departments and ambulance companies, the OSHA requirements that everybody thought they were going to be subject to, that did not pass. So it's not, I mean, it's nice to adhere to it, but you're not going to be held totally by law against that. Legal notices, you can't post a legal notice on your municipal website. We were hoping that would pass. That didn't pass. The sealed bid threshold passed from 25 to 50,000, but the governor vetoed it. So, he says it's only worth $37,000 if you escalate it from 2010. I actually did recalculate it. He is right. Somebody on his staff calculated it for him the correct way. But, so I'm sure that'll come back and somebody will try to increase the threshold to 37,000. Every year this one comes up, they want to reduce the interest rate on tax, municipal property tax, sewer tax, water bills. They want to reduce that unpaid to 18% to 12%. Did not pass, so they can still do the 18%. Ambulance reimbursement rates. There was actually a bill there that would try to get us, allow paramedic services and ambulance providers to recover the actual cost of services by requiring insurance carriers to reimburse 100% of the state rate. Didn't pass. You know? I guess the lobbyists for the insurance companies were far more effective than those for the ambulance association.
Well, this is Connecticut.
Right, we understand that, that's exactly right.
The insurance state. So.
There was a couple of things I'm not going to get into detail about firefighter retention and recruitment, police retention and recruitment. Anything in those bills did not pass. And then the final piece was there was an income tax credit which was proposed for volunteer firefighters in EMS that would give them, I think it was at least $1,000. I'm not exactly sure what the amount was, but it was a vehicle to enhance recruitment, and it was going to give them a state income tax credit. Did not pass. So like I say, when I get the final costs thing, I'm going to I'll touch base with you first, Tim, and then I'll reach out to the directors to talk about what in these 46 pages actually affect them. So,
Yeah, I would definitely be interested in myself to hear that.
yeah,
That's possible. Great, thanks.
that's it.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the presentation of scheduled payments. The motion on this.
Help me to make a motion to authorize payments in the amount of $249,741.71.
Second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Updates from boards and commissions, we have none. Well, anyway. Pending business, none. New business.
Tom Rowland, Director of Land Use and Public Works. I'm here with two requests. They're both the same. We were notified from our vendor, Permit Link, which is our software vendor for our building permits and sanitary, all the permits and land use, that they are going up on their fee. They are paid the first $10 of our permit fees. That is a direct from the applicant to them. That is what it costs to operate the software. They're going up to $12 per permit. So my first request is to increase our schedule of building fees from $40 for the first 1,000 cost of construction to $42. It will not benefit the town. It's just to cover the cost that the vendor is increasing the permit fee on our end. Both of these two requests the first one is to increase our schedule of payments, and the second one is to increase our fee from $10 to $12 per application for building permits and sanitary permits.
So it'd be two separate motions.
Correct. The first motion would be to increase our schedule of building official fees from, and trade permit fees from $40 to $42 for the first 1,000 cost of construction.
Did we, I mean, is this fee fixed for future years? I mean, we just went to this, last year?
When we changed our fee schedule, the amount that they charge, this $10 of the first, we charge $40 for the first $1,000.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, didn't we just switch to this software like a year and a half ago? 2 years ago.
June of 22.
And now they're hitting us with a 20% increase? I mean, I understand how we're passing it along, like, I get all that,
Yeah.
but, I mean, like, next year, they're gonna come and say they need $2 more? Like,
Right.
It's a good question. It's, we were notified, it says April, but it was actually May.
I mean, they did notify us in March that and it was early March, beginning April 1, they were going to begin charging us a $7 a month processing fee for the merchant that processes it. That was all supposed to be included.
Right.
So we've been, looking for
Looking at
other merchants as well, because
alternatives.
that was never part of the agreement, and that came with a 30-day notice that there would be a $6.95 a month charge from our merchant. Even though they're also getting paid, the merchant charges a percentage fee to the user as well, so they're getting paid on both ends.
I mean, are other towns facing the same cost? Are they doing this across the board?
They're doing it in
I assume
Stafford,
so.
yeah. We know of Stafford. I don't know what other towns use their software.
Yeah, I don't
And this
know.
is a launching point for us to investigate what other software packages other
Yep.
towns use. Is there something that's,
Yeah.
for a smaller town like Summers, does it make sense to go somewhere else?
It's, I mean, software as a service, and it's disruptive to migrate this data and stuff,
Yeah.
and they know
Oh, yeah,
that.
yeah, and
they
that's
take
true.
advantage of this. They say, oh, Summers, it's $2,000 more that we're charging the town of Summers,
Right.
but it's gonna cost them a lot of
Oh, it
money
would
to
be-
move.
Yep.
Painful to move, because it's captured data, as you know, and it just, it's like the GIS is.
There's no escalation caps in our contract or anything with them? I mean, they can just set this fee whatever they want. If they
It's a
said
30-day
before-
notice. After the first year, it's a 30-day notice, as I
Yeah.
understand.
Which means nothing.
Yep.
Okay.
It's, it's
It
frustrating.
is what it is.
Yeah, we're gonna look at other
20%
solutions,
No,
but
I agree.
Yeah. on the 10, yeah.
Especially coupled with some other fees and things, I mean.
Yep, that,
Well, the
that-
side that the
the
merchant
budget's
side
paying,
we're
that
paying
not, that's not being passed on to the customer, that's
Yeah.
coming straight out of the budget.
Yeah.
$7 a month just to have the,
Just cause.
express pay service, which I don't like them as a merchant anyway, so I've already begun exploring, alternatives for that.
All right, well, I don't think we're gonna solve it in 3 weeks, but I think for the
Yeah.
future, I think we should be prepared for next year and
Yep.
future years that
Yep.
we're not just gonna take what they tell us.
Right.
Well, you want to have an alternative.
Yeah, I want to look at alternatives. It's, porting the data is not fun.
Right, instead of
It might get to a
pushing
point where maybe we can do a 5-year contract and kind of stop some
Lock
of
in
these
a price,
disruptions with them or someone else and say, well, give me a better idea here.
And sometimes through CCM, through cost, through some of these other groups,
Right.
we can leverage, get a whole block of towns that say, wait a second, 20%?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay. And make a motion to, pursuant to ordinance 114, the fee schedule to increase the building permit and trade permit fees from $40 to $42 for their first $1,000 cost of construction effective July 1st, 2024.
Second.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes. Thank you. Next item is the permanent link software fee increase.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to increase the fee a bit for the permanent link software fee from $10 to $12 per application.
Second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Thank you.
Next, local traffic authority request.
Lift that binder all day.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good evening, Justin Price, Resident Trooper.
Kim Littig, Police Administrator.
Tonight we have two requests for the local traffic authority. The first one's from Ann Logan of the Fort Town Fair Association. She's looking to use local and state roadways on Saturday, September 14th for the annual Fort Town Fair Parade. Parade kicks off at 10. Roadways will be closed at 9 and reopen at approximately 1200 hours. The parade route hasn't changed from past years. Stage on Battle Street, west on Route 190, Main Street, south on Route 83, South Road, south on Field Road, and then south on Egypt Road, ending at the fairgrounds. There's going to be a detour set up Mountain View Road to Gulf Road, to Turnpike Road, to Battle Street, to Stebbins Road, to Four Bridges Road, to Sokol Road, to Main Street. Like I said, the parade route hasn't changed. There's been no major incidents as a result of this parade. We'll have officers present as well as Public Works for detours and road closures. We recommend approval of this event, and it also has to go to this state DOT for approval.
And will we have local police involved with the closures?
Yes, local police and Public Works.
So we need a motion on this.
So we need to make a motion to approve the Local Traffic Authority request to allow the Fort Town Fair Association to utilize the state roadways on Saturday, December 14th, 2024, the annual Fort Town Fair Parade. That's fine?
Should be state and local roadways, correct?
State and local, yes.
Yeah. Just, you okay modifying to state and local roadways?
And local.
All right, we could add local in there.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you.
The second one is from Scott Sutter of the Southern New England Athletic Association. They want to use local roadways on Saturday, September 14th for the annual Summer's Great Escape 5K. The road race uses the Fort Town Fairgrounds to Egypt Road to Field Road, then it turns around, goes back to Egypt Road to the Fort Town Fairgrounds. It's the same route as years past. There's been no major incidents. It requires the closure of Egypt Road and Field Road, along with traffic control at Billings Road, and it's going to be between 7:55 hours and 0900 hours. And we'll have officers present to assist with closures and traffic control. We do recommend approval of this event, and it's only using local roadways, so we don't need any state DOT approval.
Make a motion to approve the Southern New England Athletic Association request to close local roadways on Saturday, September 14th, 2024 for their annual Summer's Great Escape 5K as presented.
Second?
So just a quick question. Is the police then responsible for putting up the barriers on the roads?
Yes. And Public Works.
That's not always been the case in the past, so.
We work with Public Works on that. yeah.
It used to be volunteers, but
Right.
now the police and we do it. We'll put out work closures.
Great. Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. Ms. Liddy.
Just a brief update, I guess, on accreditation. On May 9th, Justin and I attended a ceremony down at the Police Academy in Meriden for Tier 1 accreditation. The town successfully completed it, so we're on schedule. They sent us the certificate, I believe, which is in your packet, basically saying that we are Tier 1 accredited. This is all the work that we've done with the company, Badge 6, so this is one of 3. So it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot with us and with Andretta, who we hired from former Milford officer to assist us with this. It's been worth the money. I think we got it split 3 ways when we went in with Stafford and Ellington. I think we've spent between $5,000 and $6,000. And we'd meet her every 2 weeks. I would go meet her for about 4 to 6 hours, and we'd work on this. So that's the first 14 chapters.
And the original estimate of what it could cost you was about how much, did you think?
Per department, it probably would have been over $24,000. And we really have that split 3 ways over 3 years.
No.
because we brought in the other two and getting her some more business in other resident trooper towns and other police departments. She did Milford's department, so Chief Mello gave us this certificate, Tim. I believe they sent it to you, so we'll get that to your office. The 14 chapters we did that are applicable unless, it's state police policy, communications, evidence and property, holding facilities, juveniles, management, officers' authority, operations, personnel, prisoners, records, recruiting, hiring and promotions, training, and use of force. We'll start working on Tier 2, probably August or September. Take a few months off from all this. And we'll go again, and then we'll have our next inspection March of 2025. So,
Three tiers?
3 tiers, correct, yes.
So we have 3 years.
3 years, we'll be done by 2026. So we'll be right on schedule for our 2-week inspection that we have in March of next year, and our assessment will be in April.
Did any towns not get approved? Just curious.
Not that I've heard yet. There was 15 of us that were accredited that day,
Yeah.
approved that day, 15 departments from around the state. It just depends on the order. I think there was a couple that basically have said that they refuse to do it. We're not sure what the consequences will be. I don't know if they'll decertify officers in the future. They haven't really said, so we're doing what we're asked to do per the Accountability Act.
Nice job. Did you do a press release on this or anything?
Not yet, no.
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, especially for smaller agencies. I mean, it's a great accomplishment, and I think it's a great thing. We should let the public know.
Yes,
So.
absolutely. I don't know, did we put anything on the website yet? I don't think I did.
No.
Not yet.
I just wanted to bring
Yeah, we just got this about a month ago. I think they sent this on May 9th, we got it. We just wanted to do the update. We told Tim we'd come and do an update. He had asked, so, but yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Very good,
It's
thank
been
you.
a lot, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
Sure,
report.
sure. Thank you.
Cox, we have you're next on the agenda.
Up earlier than I was expecting. The meeting is going very fast. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Matthew Cox, Director of Human Services. I have 2 requests this evening. I had sent some materials ahead, both in form of memos and draft contracts. The work, as has been reported at previous board meetings, involves our Drug-Free Communities grant, and Summers Comes Together. We've been working for the last few months on drafting some more of the foundational elements that are necessary not only to bring the coalition into compliance with requirements from Drug-Free Communities and the CDC, who's the funder.
I think we skipped number 6.
Yeah, we did. First thing on here is the resignation of Ed Matthews.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so I got a phone call on Sunday, along with the memo that's before you now from Aiden, that she's been out on maternity leave and has decided that due to family reasons, she has resigned her position to seek something more part-time, a little bit more flexible with a growing family. And she's done a very nice job for us, lovely person, and she'll be missed.
Babies require a lot of attention, I hear.
They do, especially first ones. Yes, that's true.
Lots of sleepless nights.
Make a motion to accept the resignation of Ada Matthews effective June 13th, 2024.
Second.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in support say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay. You're next.
You want me-
Yeah, you missed.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 in a row.
Okay, so as I was saying, we've been working to draft and implement the various foundational elements that are necessary for the coalition itself to function, but also to meet the requirements of the Drug-Free Communities grant. We just completed, within the past month, drafting the mission, vision, and value statements for the coalition. Those are new. They've never had them before. It was about a 3-month effort, working with the full coalition, consultant Troy Monroe from Scout Collective, who actually worked with us to get to that point. The new mission, vision, value statements were recently posted on the town website under the Human Services Department section. So you can see those. I do have a paper copy if anyone would like to see those. The next logical step is working on bylaws. And so currently there are no written operating procedures, voting procedures, really those basic elements that help us do our work on a month-to-month basis. John Davio is a consultant who has served as doing prevention coaching with our new prevention coordinator, Ariana Flagg, around the winter months. He's done a great job, very well known around the state. He's one of our prevention experts here. He's done this kind of work, drafting and implementing bylaws with many other coalitions and other groups. And so the request is to approve a contract with John to work with us, staff, as well as an action team from the coalition to come up with draft bylaws that would then be presented to the full coalition in September for a vote and approval.
Great. Well, I know that both Bob and I have attended Summers Comes Together meetings where Troy Monroe has been involved, and he does a great job. Great, terrific, and accomplished a lot because of his assistance. Are these funds coming from the grant, by the way?
Yes, so these are all, they've already been approved by the funder. They are coming out of the Drug-Free Communities grant.
Do we know approximately how much it's going to be? Or?
Yeah, so for John Davio's, approximately $1,400. That would be,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, that would be the maximum.
Yeah, sorry, just letting you know. It's-
No, that,
It's,
I mean, definitely needs to be done. I agree. It seems like a good price. What's the attendance been at the coalition meetings? I mean, how many people, like, what's an average attendance?
Average attendance is 15, 16, 18.
That's really good.
Yeah,
Okay.
very, very good, very
Okay.
consistent.
It's a disaster, but altogether has been good.
Yes, no, our last one, and I think this happened last year too, it was the day after the Memorial Day holiday. And so we had, I think, 3 people, Bob was one of them who showed up. And so I think people were still in vacation mode or family vacation.
But I must say that it's probably the best run and most popular, best membership of any organization I've been on here in town. It's really, really good. And
Yeah, a lot of people
a lot of
attend.
work done.
Yeah, very good.
A lot of good discussion.
Very active members. People participate. They don't just attend, they actually participate. We engage outside of meetings as well.
So I don't feel so bad when I hear only 3 people showed up.
No. So we will move next year's meeting.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
So I guess we need a motion here to,
So we need a motion to
Approve
approve the contract with, how do you pronounce the name, John? W?
Yep.
W Consulting LLC to facilitate established bylaws for the Summers Come Together and authorize the first selectman to sign the contract.
Second that motion.
any further discussion on the motion? All those in support say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yes, thank
Wonderful. The other request is also would be funded through the Drug-Free Communities grant. Funds that have been budgeted and approved through 2025, so for about 17 months. Troy Monroe with Scout Collective, as Tim had mentioned, has been working with us on other foundational elements, mission, vision, values. The other things that are lacking that will bring us into compliance with the funders' requirements, as well as just to be productive and operating in a good way. The name, so the name Summers Comes Together has become a challenge. One, because many people in town may have heard it, they don't understand what it is. There are a number of other groups, committees, commissions, including, say, for example, the Summers Together Fund from the Hartford Foundation that confuse people about what they're doing. The name also doesn't really indicate what the group is about. And so one of the first activities is to put together an action team of members of the coalition who would meet to talk about naming options that would be brought back to the coalition as a whole to decide, do we change the name, do we not, what would the new name be? Same thing with the logo. The logo is cute. I mean, it's a nice logo. It does not translate well into various media, and so we're limited in many ways on how we can use the logo, and so that would be another step. And then website. So we currently do not have a website. One was begun, I believe, a few years ago. It was never completed and is now no longer out operating. And so Scout Collective would also work with the coalition to develop a website. And then finally, we need to put into place some public information campaigns. Our two target substances for the grant are marijuana and alcohol. Marijuana including vaping. And so a big push in the public realm is necessary. Scout Collective has worked with a number of other coalitions. They're not only graphic designers, strategy experts, they also have many years of experience in prevention work. So they understand the language, they understand the funding, they understand the partners, as well as working directly with many of the other coalitions in the state. And so I think they're very well positioned to meet the needs that we have. And so the request is to approve the contract with Scout Collective. It is $17,000.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed $17,000, correct. In $1,000 monthly increments. It would be through the end of September 2025. So this would, very similar to the agreement that we have with Bonnie Wayland Smith for program evaluation work, in which the increments are monthly for $1,000. It would carry us through that same time period.
I have a question for you, Matthew.
Sure.
For the end of the presentation here. I know it's at 17,000 cost, but there's one line here that makes me wonder. There's terms, agreement, $1,000 an hour times 17 plus contingencies. So it doesn't sound like a $17,000 agreement. It sounds like if something arises and it's a contingency.
I guess the way I looked at that was if we change our minds, there's a course correction as we're going along, we make a change in what we want them to work on, that there might be changes. I wouldn't anticipate that. If something like that happened, I would certainly come back to this group and or negotiate with them to keep the costs.
If that's clarified, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, just keep it under 17,000.
Sure.
So any further discussion? We need a motion on this.
Makes sense. Make a motion to approve the agreement with Scout Collective for consulting work with Summers comes together as presented and authorize the first selectman to sign the agreement.
Second.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
So we just set a meeting date for the appropriation separation payout for John Roach.
Franny and I were talking to you June 20th, because we're going to have a public hearing that day as well for the vendors hoggers amendment. So I was thinking 5:45 for the public hearing, 6 p.m. for the regular Board of Selectmen meeting, and then 7 for the town meeting, if that's acceptable.
I mean, we're still not anticipating any extra funds that we can do a transfer?
Not. I don't want to guarantee it. Yes.
Okay, I mean, I know we have another appropriation potentially as the next item that may require some
So we're
transfer.
supposed to have a meeting on the 20th.
It's a regular meeting.
And we do add this to it?
Yeah, I was thinking, because
No, we wouldn't have to do it for a transfer, but
What's the public hearing?
it's for the vendors
I hate
hoggers.
to lock up and say that yes, we could transfer that with
Well,
the uncertainties of the
weeks ago,
end.
like,
But most of the surplus is in revenue, not in,
Exactly, with the majority of the surplus being revenue,
we
it's
try to keep
which we can't
here,
reappropriate
like 5
revenue.
days
Right.
before.
Okay, all right.
so when we appropriate it, we can appropriate it from a revenue source. We can increase, the budgetary increase for bank interest, for example, and not necessarily take it from fund balance. It'll just reduce our return to fund balance
That
in
makes
current
sense.
year.
But it still requires a town meeting.
But it still requires because it's an appropriation.
Okay. And make a motion to set a town meeting for June 20th, 2024, 7 PM for the separation payment to John Roach in the amount of $62,001.33.
Was it 5:45?
Yep, 7 o'clock
No,
for the
that's
town meeting.
That's for the town meeting. 5:45 is the public hearing.
For the ordinance.
6 PM would be the regular board of
Yep.
selectmen meeting, and then 7 would be the town.
Spell that out for us, Vic.
Of course I will. I'll have it.
I understood.
I know.
If you could just send it out to us, what's going on.
Oh, absolutely, yes, of
And
course.
not wait till the day before.
No, I'll send you it.
Yes, that way I can,
Legally,
I got it,
absolutely.
yeah.
Got it.
All right, thank you. I'll
And
second.
you'll handle the legal notice on that,
Further
Kim?
discussion?
I already have it done.
Awesome.
Motion? Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. Mr. Wissinger.
It's that time of year again. So now that the budget has passed, I put together the salary pool numbers for fiscal year 25 with the 4% increases. So I sent that to you guys for final approval. It does include currently elected officials, full-time elected officials, I should say, with a salary increase. The last time their salaries were increased was January of '23. It does not include the stipend elected officials, such as the 2 members of the Board of Selectmen and the Registrar of Voters. Does not include increases for them. Those are eligible if you would like to put those in, but I did not put them in. So we just need approval on the
So we're not in it for a raise.
on the new salaries.
I see at the end, stays at 5,000.
Yep.
Got it. And McCaffrey stays at 10,500, okay.
It's a straight 4%, there's no other adjustments. I didn't see any.
It's a straight 4%. There's no other adjustments. There are a couple of zeros in there just because, like, we've already been informed of Bill Heiko's retirement, so we didn't increase his pay.
Yep.
And the vacant positions, I didn't put anything in for them because they will change once they're filled.
Yeah, the police officers, we adjusted the minimum, so.
The police
that was
officers, we
below that.
adjusted their salaries, so there's no percentage, it's just flat rates on the part-time. The 3 part-timers went up to 31, the vacant SRO position is budgeted at 30, and Chris Powers was increased to, I believe it's 33 an hour. I think it's 33.
So Dave McCaffrey, didn't we increase the budget? Is that the new amount? I thought we increased the budget.
For veterans, not for.
No, we increased it because of the new work with the election.
Yeah, we did increase it.
We
Oh,
increased it
okay.
in the budget.
Then it wouldn't be part of this anyway. It would just be part of the budget line item.
Well, I just want to make sure that when we set the salaries, we set it
Yep.
right, because the budget's one thing.
I will have to check my notes on that.
I think it was
I
like a
didn't read it.
$2,000 increase or something.
Yeah, we did.
It does sound familiar.
Okay.
I'll go back through my notes, so.
So I'd make a motion to approve this without one modification.
All right.
We make the Dave McCaffrey's match the budget increase.
All right.
And then other than that, I'm fine with it.
No, second?
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Kim, I'll
And you'll
get
send a
out.
copy of this to the Board of Finance too, just to keep them
Yep.
informed?
Yep.
You don't have to approve it, but just so they
Yep.
know. Yeah.
I'll need a memo for the auditors to attach this to.
Thank you, Brian. Next thing on the agenda is the discussion and consideration of establishing ad hoc affordable housing committee. Now, every town in Connecticut was mandated to come up with a committee with an effective date of June 2022, I believe.
Yeah, sure. We're behind on it.
Yes, we're 2 years behind. And we're one of several towns that hasn't completed this. And it will become part of the plan of conservation and development, which has to address the same subject, which is due sometime, they're starting it this year, but this year and next year they're working on it. Totally, yeah. This is particularly important as well because the town, as you know, we're trying to work with wind development to build 75 to 80 apartment units at the mill complex. And we've had several meetings, one with the Commissioner of Housing and one with the Connecticut Finance Housing Authority. And we've been told, and Wynn has been told, that they would be more competitive for the CHAFA funding if this plan were in place when they applied for it. Now, I think they also implied that the implication there is if you don't have it done, that's a negative. In a sense, I think 90% of the CHAFA projects are in needy communities, which Summers is not one. We need to be, Wynn needs to be as competitive as possible. So as a result, I took it upon myself to make a few phone calls and locate a consultant that we could hire to put together such a plan, to help us put together such a plan. And it turns out that the person that I contacted was Mike D'Amato, who used to be the zoning enforcement officer here in Summers about 10 years ago. So he's familiar with the town. He knows the people. He also has done 19 other towns for their plans. And the interesting thing about this plan, of course, is there's not a mandate as to what needs to be in the plan, but there's an assumption that certain things will be in there. He's familiar with what they are. He's got a model. I've talked to him on 3 different occasions and explained to him the anticipation would be that he would work with the ad hoc committee. This is something that he feels reasonably certain he'd complete within 2 months, which I think is a good time frame because there is a requirement, and I read through the State Department of OPM requirement that if the plan has to be approved by the community, and they have to have it 45 days before they vote to approve it. So there's an education element to this as well, which I think Mike could be very helpful with us to explain what affordable housing is, why it's beneficial to a community, and why the state passed this mandate. So I've also already contacted individuals, explained to them what this is, potential participants on the ad hoc committee. And the thinking is that 2 members would come from the Housing Authority, right. One would be Terry Schmidt, the other would be Dave Pinney. Both have agreed to serve. Both, I think, would be exceptional personnel on the committee. 2 people from planning. Brad Pellestier has already volunteered himself as chairman of planning, and he's put the word out to the planning committee to come up with another volunteer, and he's pretty certain he can get one. And then I contacted on zoning the chairman, Jim Formica, who said he would serve along with Howie Coro, who's also on the zoning commission, and he's got a background in real estate finance, and he's also very interested in serving. People understand that the fact that there's a short turnaround. There will be probably 1 or no more than 2 meetings a week for probably 6 or 7 weeks, and we would end up with a affordable housing plan, and hopefully end up with a education program that educates the public as to what this is and why it's important for the town to have one. So I'm asking the board to establish the ad hoc affordable housing committee this evening, and as well have another motion that would allow me to sign a contract for services. There's a contract attached to item 11 on each 11 on the package, and it would be I've looked this over myself as finance director.
I also sent a copy of the contract to Carl Landalina.
Right. So the assumption, we're asking that there be a motion to approve this pending the approval of our town attorney, Carl Landalina.
Yep.
So you wanted us to have a motion to establish the ad hoc housing committee and sign a contract?
With Taish Planning and Policy.
Okay, Taish Planning. Okay.
They mentioned the cost to be $15,000.
Okay, $15,000 cost.
I mean, this is comparable to other towns of our size, what they paid.
Do we have any town staff that are going to serve on it, like either the zoning enforcement?
Yes, Jen Roy will be definitely involved.
So we would appoint her as well?
As a liaison, yeah.
Okay, that's all. Yeah, otherwise, sounds good. I'm fine with it all. I just think we should have someone from the town that's a liaison.
Non-voting member that.
That plan has to go in front of a public hearing also by statute, so.
Right, that's what I meant, it'd be a public,
Yeah. So,
Be it like in the fall, yeah.
it has to be approved, I think.
Yeah.
By the public.
Covering all your bases.
Right.
Okay.
A 45-day notice requirement.
Okay.
So sometime in September, we would have hopefully we'll have an approved plan.
Okay.
Which I think meets the requirements of wind development as well as far as their schedule goes.
Well, good job putting this together.
Great.
Very good.
So we need two different motions.
So I make a motion to the Board of Selectmen appoint or establish an ad hoc affordable housing committee comprising of Terry Schmidt, David Pinney, Brad Pellisier, another member of the planning committee appointed by the first selectman, Jim Formica and Howie Coro, and staff liaison Jen Roy. And I guess the term would be what, through like December 31st or
Yeah,
something?
that'd be fine.
Through December 31st of 2024.
Good work.
It should be
Yeah.
completed in
September,
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
Yeah, so, just, I mean, if we have to extend it, we can
Yeah, I
extend
think
it.
that makes sense.
So December 31st, 2024, yeah.
Second?
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Next, we need a motion to
Sign a contract.
What's the funding, like, how are we gonna pay for this?
So I was going to recommend that we make a transfer from contingency to the land and building services line item under the selectmen.
So we'll just do that next meeting then? Is that-
Yeah, we can formalize it at the next meeting, but that would be the funding source.
Yeah, I would like to be able to, I think part of the contract is until it's approved, they add an additional 2 weeks before they can start.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, you
I'd
could go
like to
ahead and
start as soon as
approve.
possible. So
Yeah, no, you could go ahead and approve it. We'll just handle the funding source in 2 weeks.
Talk to the membership.
So we just approve the contract without not the amount?
No, you can approve it with the amount. We'll
15,000 too.
formalize the transfer in 2 weeks.
That's go to Board of Finance too, though, right?
Right, so it'll go to them, and then it'll go to Board of Finance 3 days later.
Okay, so we can just make it contingent on the approval, but I think he can start with the verbal,
Yeah.
right, with the okay, just
We start
contingent on the
meetings
approval.
within 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, I mean, we're approving it tonight, we're gonna approve it in 2 weeks, but it just needs the Board of Finance.
Yeah, the funding source, it won't be an issue.
Okay.
Okay, so, do we have a motion?
Well, do we want to make a motion to approve the contract with Taish Planning and Policy Group?
Pending legal review.
And pending legal review, and should I put in the amount of $15,000 cost?
Yes.
And contingent upon the approval of the Board of Finance as well, right?
Right.
Okay, I'll second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next on the agenda, approval of minutes of May 23rd, special meeting.
You have to make a motion to approve the minutes of May 23rd, 2024 special meeting for the Board of Selectmen.
Except one amendment. I think we have to add with the executive session, that no votes were taken.
Oh, okay, I thought I heard that, sorry.
Yeah, so just to add,
Votes.
executive session ended at 5:40 PM, no votes were
No
taken,
votes were taken, okay.
and then otherwise it looked fine.
Okay, thank you.
All right, come on.
I'll second it as amended.
Any further discussion on the motion as amended? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
Passes. Motion to adjourn. Adjourn.
Thank you.